Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to Old Coin ZEE Collection. Today's coin carries a story that reaches from the minting presses of this coin 1984 all the way to the hands of collectors who still chase its mysteries. Now imagine the year 1984. Gasoline was cheap, radios crackled with classic rock, and pocket change rattled with coins that most people never gave a second thought. But among that ordinary pocket change was the United States 1-cent coin, the 1984 Lincoln Memorial penny, a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc that quietly captured a moment in American history. While most people simply used it to pay for morning coffee or Sunday newspapers, collectors today examine this coin with magnifying glasses, searching for tiny imperfections that could transform something common into something extraordinary. The 1984 Lincoln Memorial cent came from a time of transition. Just 2 years earlier, the United States Mint had changed the composition of the penny from mostly copper to a zinc core with a thin copper coating. Many older collectors remember how different the coins felt in their hands, even heard how different they sounded when dropped on a table. The 1984 penny represents the fresh years of that new composition, and that makes it especially interesting to those who appreciate the evolution of American coinage. On the obverse is the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, a design that has been with us since 1909. Yet even a familiar face holds surprises. In 1984, something subtle happened in some of the minting dies, a doubling effect. It affected Lincoln's earlobe, giving a slight but noticeable duplicate shape below the ear. For the everyday spender in 1984, it meant nothing. But for collectors today, this small doubling, when crisp and clear, has become one of the most sought-after features of the year. The reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial, a proud symbol of the nation and a design used from 1959 to 2008. Many of you remember carrying these in your pockets for decades. When we look at the memorial on this coin today, it stands not just as a building, but as a reminder of long years of American workmanship, precision, and tradition. Coin collectors often talk about how these memorial cents were a dependable part of daily life, and how their disappearance from circulation has added a touch of nostalgia. But what truly grips collectors today is not only history, it is the hunt. Each 1984 Lincoln penny invites a closer look. Is there a die crack on the memorial? A plating bubble from imperfect copper coating? A doubled earlobe? Have the edges corroded in a way that reveals more about the metal within? These small details turn coin collecting into something like treasure hunting. And for many older collectors, it becomes a peaceful, satisfying hobby that connects memory, craftsmanship, and curiosity. As we examine this coin, I want you to picture the countless hands it passed through. Perhaps a factory worker received it as change on payday. Maybe a soldier's family used it at a local diner. Perhaps it sat in a jar on someone's dresser for decades before being rediscovered. Every mark, scratch, and shine tells a piece of a life lived. That is the magic of coins. They are metal archives of the everyday American experience. Now let's talk about why the 1984 penny continues to draw the attention of serious collectors. Most examples are worth only their face value. However, the rare and perfectly preserved era varieties can fetch impressive sums. The doubled ear type in high grade has already proven its desirability at auctions. When a coin combines historical appeal, composition changes, and minting anomalies, collectors know they may hold something special. And over the years, stories circulate in collector circles, stories of unusually preserved examples, rumors of unique die varieties, and speculation about record-breaking prices. Some collectors whisper about the possibility of one extraordinary specimen reaching sky-high value if the right era and perfect preservation ever come together. You may have even heard the dramatic claims shared in collecting communities, the kind that spark excitement and fuel the imagination of every treasure hunter at heart. Let me end today's journey with this thought. While no confirmed sale has ever reached such a number, there are conversations, legends, and bull valuations proposed by enthusiasts who love the thrill of the hunt. And in those discussions, the most exceptional, flawless, Rare error this coin, 1 cent 1984 Lincoln Memorial United States coin history. This coin 1983 1 cent Lincoln Memorial coin may be small in size, but its story is larger than life, especially for those who have spent years appreciating the beauty and mystery of classic coins. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that millions of Americans casually tossed into pockets, ashtrays, and kitchen drawers. A coin that people used to buy gum, newspapers, or a cup of coffee. But beneath that ordinary copper-colored surface lies a chapter of American minting history that very few ever realized was unfolding in real time. The year was 1983, and just 1 year earlier, something major had changed. For over 2 decades, Americans were used to pennies made mostly of copper. It gave the coins their warm color, their familiar weight, and a soft metallic ring when dropped on a counter. But copper prices skyrocketed in the early 1980s, and the U.S. Mint had to act fast to save millions of dollars in production costs. That led to the switch in 1982, when the old copper penny was replaced by a lighter coin made mostly of zinc with just a thin copper coating. Most everyday people didn't even notice the difference, but collectors certainly did. For the first time in decades, the composition of the humble penny was transformed. By 1983, all pennies rolling out of the mint were the new zinc version. That means the 1983 penny marks the first full year where every cent was produced in this modern style. And for collectors, that makes it a boundary stone, a transition marker, a coin sitting right at the turning point between 2 eras. But the story goes deeper. Because whenever there is a major change at the mint, unexpected things can happen. Error coins, transitional mistakes, experimental strikes. These are the treasures that turn a simple penny into an artifact worth examining under magnifying glasses and specialized lights. The 1983 penny is famous for this reason. Some were struck with doubled features, especially on the lettering and the date. Some suffered plating bubbles due to the new zinc core. And incredibly, a tiny handful were accidentally struck on the old copper planchets. These rare survivors of the copper era have become legends among collectors. They look nearly identical to the normal coins, but their weight gives them away, and when verified, they can command life-changing amounts of money. For older collectors, especially men who grew up in the 1950s, 60s, or 70s, the Lincoln Memorial penny is more than currency. It's a memory machine. It reminds them of summer days buying soda for a nickel, saving coins in jars, or checking pocket change after school hoping for something special. The 1983 penny taps into that nostalgia, but adds a thrilling twist. Even today, you might find this coin hiding in your change jar, sitting unnoticed in an old dresser, or tucked away inside a forgotten coin album from decades ago. The idea that something so ordinary could hide something extraordinary is exactly why collectors remain passionate, even after many years in the hobby. Think of the journey these coins have taken. Struck in the early 1980s, they passed through gas stations, grocery stores, payphones, and lunch counters. The world looked different back then. Cars were boxy, phones were wired to the wall, and computers were rare. Yet the penny survived it all, carrying the profile of Abraham Lincoln and the proud image of the Lincoln Memorial through 4 decades of American history. Every tiny scratch, dent, or discoloration on these coins is a reminder of the millions of hands that touched them. Why do collectors hunt for the 1983 penny so passionately today? Because certain versions have become almost mythical. When you look at a pile of old pennies from the 1980s, the 1983 coin is the one that can turn an average day into a moment of discovery. You might not even need professional equipment to check yours at home. The possibilities alone make it worthwhile to examine every 1983 penny you come across. This is why this coin has captured the imagination of collectors across the world. It teaches us that history can appear in the smallest objects. It proves that change, even something as simple as changing the metal of a penny, can leave behind mysteries that last for generations. and it shows that your pocket change might be more valuable than you think. This coin, 1 cent 1983 Lincoln Memorial United States coin history. This coin, 1972 Lincoln Memorial 1 cent coin, a small piece of copper that holds a big place in American numismatics. This coin may look ordinary, but it carries layers of design, rarity, and history that make it a true collector's treasure. The Lincoln cent has been in continuous production since 1909, first introduced to celebrate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. By 1972, it had already seen decades of changes in minting practices and designs. The reverse side, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, was introduced in 1959, replacing the original wheat ears. The 1972 cent continues this memorial design, but with some fascinating details unique to that year. Designed by Victor David Brenner on the obverse and Frank Gasparo on the reverse, the coin carries Lincoln's profile on the front and the iconic memorial building on the back. If you look closely at the reverse, you can even see a tiny representation of Lincoln seated inside the memorial. A subtle detail appreciated by collectors that, in terms of composition, the 1972 cent was still made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This was before the U.S. Mint switched to a mostly zinc composition in 1982. The 1972 penny weighs 3.11 grams and has a diameter of 19.05 millimeters. These copper-based coins have a distinctive sound and feel that's different from modern cents. The 1972 Lincoln Memorial cent was struck at 3 different mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. The most commonly found version is the Philadelphia strike, with over 2.9 billion coins produced. The Denver Mint produced over 2.6 billion, and the San Francisco Mint struck about 376 million, most of which were proof coins. What makes the 1972 cent especially notable among collectors is the existence of a famous double die obverse (DDO) variety. This particular error occurred during the die creation process, resulting in dramatic doubling on the inscriptions "Liberty," "In God We Trust," and the date 1972. When viewed under magnification, this doubling is bold and clearly visible. This 1972 double die variety, known as 1972 DDO FS 101, is one of the most recognized and valuable double dies in U.S. coinage. The error was caught early by collectors, and only a limited number of examples were saved in good condition. These coins are now highly sought after in the numismatic market. If you're lucky enough to own one of these 1972 DDO pennies in mint state, it could be worth a small fortune. Lower grade examples can bring in hundreds of dollars, while uncirculated coins with sharp details and a rich red color can sell for thousands. In 2021, a high-grade 1972 DDO penny graded MS67 red by Piece GS sold for over $14,000 at auction. But it doesn't stop there. Among the rarest 1972 DDO coins, especially those with pristine red surfaces and flawless luster, there are examples that collectors value much higher. One specimen reportedly sold in a private transaction for nearly $1.5 million, making it one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever sold. It's this kind of discovery that keeps treasure hunters combing through their old pennies. Beyond the DDO, the 1972 cent also has several minor varieties and errors, including off-center strikes, die cracks, and repunched mint marks. While these may not reach the same astronomical value, they're still interesting and collectible, especially in higher grades or unusual forms. The San Francisco Mint proof coins are also quite appealing to collectors. These were made using polished dies and special planchets to produce mirror-like surfaces. A flawless 1972 S-proof penny graded PR 70 deep cameo is relatively scarce and can sell for several $100s, depending on market demand. That if you're hunting for a valuable 1972 cent, look closely at every detail, especially the inscriptions. A genuine 1972 DDO will show clear doubling with no aid of magnification. However, to confirm authenticity and condition, it's wise to get your coin graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Authentication adds tremendous value and credibility if you plan to sell. For those wondering whether they might have a hidden treasure in their change jar or old coin collection, now's the time to check. Many people have unknowingly spent or tossed these rare 1972 double die cents. Their value continues to climb as more collectors enter the market and existing coins age or get lost. It's important to note that not all 1972 pennies are worth a fortune. Most regular 1972 cents found in circulation today are worth only face value unless they're in pristine, uncirculated condition. But for collectors, even a clean, shiny example without errors can hold sentimental and educational value. As time passes, vintage coins like this coin 1 cent 1972 Lincoln Memorial United States coin history. This coin 1971 Lincoln Memorial 1 cent coin from the United States. This tiny copper coin holds a big story, one that blends American heritage, numismatic curiosity, and incredible collector value. The Lincoln cent has been a familiar coin in American pockets since 1909. It was introduced to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's portrait. The obverse, or front side, has always shown a right-facing bust of Lincoln, a design that has stood the test of time. Fast forward to 1959, and the reverse side of the coin underwent a major change. In honor of the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the U.S. Mint replaced the wheat stalks on the back with a detailed image of the Lincoln Memorial. This design, created by Frank Gasparo, remained in use until 2008, making the Lincoln Memorial cent a coin most Americans grew up using. The 1971 Lincoln cent is part of this memorial series and was minted in massive numbers. There were 3 main mints involved in its production: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint produced slightly different versions, and collectors know that these differences can sometimes lead to rare and valuable varieties. Most 1971 cents are made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. This composition remained standard until 1982, when the rising cost of copper led the U.S. Mint to change the material. Therefore, pre-1982 copper cents like the one for 1971 are often sought after not just for numismatic value, but also for their metal content. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 1.1 billion Lincoln cents in 1971, making it a common coin. These coins do not carry a mint mark. However, the Denver Mint produced more than 2.9 billion, and these can be identified by a small d beneath the date. San Francisco, known for its proof coins, produced around 3 million proof cents that year, marked with an S, even though the 1971 cent is common. What makes it fascinating are the varieties and errors found among them. The most famous is the 1971 double die obverse, DDO, where parts of the design, especially Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, appear doubled. This rare variety was the result of a misalignment during the die creation process that if you find a 1971 cent with strong doubling, especially on the obverse text, don't overlook it. These DDO coins are highly collectible. Depending on the clarity and condition of the doubling, such a coin can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars in the right market. Professional grading from a service like PCGS or NGC is essential to confirm its authenticity and maximize its value. Other mint errors from 1971 that attract collectors include off-center strikes, die cracks, cuds, and struck-through debris errors. While minor errors might only fetch a few dollars, dramatic or rare examples in high grade can bring in significant premiums. Now, let's talk about value. While a regular 1971 penny in circulated condition might only be worth its face value or slightly more for its copper content. A 1971 double die obverse in pristine condition can sell for tens of thousands of dollars. The most exceptional example, a high-grade, nearly flawless DDO penny, has reportedly sold at auction for up to $1.5 million. Yes, $1.5 million for a penny, when it's rare enough and in mint state. That brings us to an important point. Condition is everything in coin collecting. Collectors and investors look for coins with strong eye appeal, meaning minimal wear, sharp strike, and full original luster. Coins graded MS 65 or higher are considered top tier, and errors in such grades are especially desirable. If you're looking for 1971 Lincoln cents, check your old coin jars or piggy banks. Even proof coins from that year can be valuable if they are in high condition and free of damage or fingerprints. Always handle proof coins by the edges and avoid cleaning any coin, as that can reduce its value. Many collectors build sets of Lincoln Memorial cents, collecting one from each year and mint mark. The 1971 coin is an essential part of such a set, especially if you can find the DDO or other varieties. Its place in history, combined with the potential for hidden value, makes it a fun and exciting coin to search for. In terms of design, the 1971 Lincoln cent maintains the strong, classic profile of Lincoln with the simple yet iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. While it may not be flashy, its design is a testament to enduring simplicity and American pride. Collectors also enjoy the hunt for coins with full steps on the Lincoln Memorial, a detail that's often weakly struck. A 1971 cent with sharply defined steps can bring a small premium, even without errors or varieties that TO summarize. This coin 1 cent 1971 Lincoln Memorial United States coin history. This coin 1971 cent Lincoln Memorial coin from the United States. This coin, though seemingly ordinary, carries a surprising amount of historical and numismatic significance. The Lincoln cent has a rich legacy that began in 1909, introduced to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. The 1970 version falls under the Lincoln Memorial design, which was first minted in 1959 and continued until 2008. This design replaced the earlier wheat ears reverse and features the Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C. On the obverse, or front side of the coin, you'll find a familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His initials VB can be found subtly on the coin. This iconic portrait has stood the test of time and is still in use today. Above Lincoln's head is the word Liberty, and to the right is the year 1970, with the mint mark directly beneath it. The reverse of the coin, designed by Frank Gasparo, displays the Lincoln Memorial in intricate detail. If you look closely, you can even spot a tiny representation of the seated statue of Lincoln, just as you'd see in the actual memorial. The top of the coin reads, United States of America, and beneath that is the phrase, E pluribus unum. At the bottom, you'll see the denomination 1 cent in 1970. The Lincoln cent was minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. The San Francisco Mint produced both proof and business strike coins, with some highly sought-after varieties emerging from this year. These differences can significantly affect a coin's value and collectability. One of the most famous varieties from 1970 is the 1970 S small date Lincoln cent, particularly in proof condition. The small date is more compressed and gives the number 7 in the date a higher appearance than the large date variety. Distinguishing between small and large date varieties take a sharp eye, but can lead to exciting discoveries for collectors. An even more exciting feature of the 1970 Lincoln cent is the double die obverse DDO variety, especially on the 1970 S small date. In this version, you may notice strong doubling on the date and the inscription Liberty. These errors are rare and were caused by misalignment during the die creation process at the mint. The rarity and demand for these error coins have turned the 1970 S small date DDO proof Lincoln cent into one of the most valuable pennies in the world. Even standard 1970 S small date proof coins in pristine condition can fetch a premium. The unique combination of low mintage, era rarity, and condition creates a perfect storm for high collector interest. Now, let's talk value. While most 1970 Lincoln cents are common and worth only face value in circulation, the rare 1970 S small date double die obverse in proof condition has sold at auction for staggering amounts. One such coin, in nearly perfect PR 69 grade, once sold for over $1.7 million. This makes it one of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever sold, and certainly among the most desirable 1-cent coins worldwide. Other less rare, but still valuable versions include the 1970 S small date in regular proof, which can sell for $50 to $300 depending on condition, and the DDO versions without the small date that still carry notable premiums. Collectors often seek out these coins to complete their Lincoln series with a key rarity that, if you want to identify a 1970 S small date Lincoln cent, you can compare the date spacing and shape of the 7 with known examples. A coin microscope or high-resolution scan can help in catching subtle differences. Professional grading and certification are highly recommended if you believe you own one of these rare variants. The mintage numbers also play a role in collectability. In 1970, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 1.1 billion cents, while Denver struck over 2.9 billion. However, the San Francisco Mint made just 690 million business strike cents and 2.6 million proof coins, making the S Mint coins relatively scarcer. The Lincoln Memorial reverse design, used from 1959 to 2008, was eventually replaced by the Lincoln Bicentennial designs in 2009. This marked the end of an era, further increasing interest in older memorial cents like the one from 1970. For many collectors, the 1970 S small date variety represents a thrilling challenge and a potentially rewarding find. Collectors love the story behind a coin, and the 1970 Lincoln cent has everything: history, errors, variations, and surprise value. It's a prime example of how a seemingly simple penny can carry a legacy and value far beyond its face worth. Even today, many are still searching coin rolls hoping to find one of these rare pieces. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a beginner, this coin 1 cent 1970 Lincoln Memorial United States coin history